welcome. Hello.
Hi there.
It's another episode of Würfelcast.
It is.
Episode 104. Once we get to the 404, we could call it an error episode.
I see.
An IT joke. Okay. Yeah, that's how we start. As always, with some jokes. That
I'm not sure if that counts.
still a joke. Anyway, here we are with the topic of the day: top 5 games we wish were reprinted.
Huzzah!
And I just realized that the title on YouTube is top 5 we wish were reprinted. Accidentally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that still works.
Yeah. I just have to emphasize that it's top 5 games, not us being reprinted.
You didn't think that I was hoping that you were going to leave it vague so that I could talk about books and works of art.
Yeah, but then I should say top 5 things or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get it right post production type thing. Right now, it's not possible to do it. Well, hello, Daniel. Anyway,
hello.
Yeah, top five games we wish were reprinted. We're gonna get to that at the end of the show. But before that, you know what time it is? Time
to
for
talk about other things.
The Watcher's Babble. You wanted to talk about other things. Tell me, Kyle. Tell me more.
So I haven't been watching many shows lately. I have been. So I saw recently the movie Deadpool and Wolverine, and that sent me down a path of watching old bad superhero movies. There are lots of references in there to things like the Fantastic Four, Elektra, Blade, and these sort of older generation of superhero movies that I decided I didn't remember very well and decided to go back and watch. And I will say they don't hold up very well. Some of them are pretty bad. So that's what I've been watching, is that kind of old generation of early 90s or late 90s, early 2000s superhero movies, including those that I referenced.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I recommend them.
I've thought about getting back to those movies. Maybe not Fantastic Four. Not good at all.
It's not. I mean, and Elektra's not good. It's even worse than you remember.
Blade was okay.
It doesn't hold up.
Yeah, at that time it was good for whatever reason. Nowadays, when we have a plethora of new, let's say, new superhero or whatever fantasy-related movies, sci-fi things, that it's just not holding up. But that's fine. That's fine. Maybe they will. So the topic of the day, reprints. Maybe they will remake some of these. Yeah, Blade, for example, could be remade into something with Denzel Washington or something. No, I'm kidding. All right, but anyway, mine is a TV show that I think it's a final season. Otherwise, it will be too weird. The ending itself. If you're scared of minor spoilers, just mute yourself for a minute or two. But yeah, I want to talk about the Umbrella Academy.
I saw Snow White there, and I thought I watched the first and second seasons.
So yeah, what is Super Dan? Okay. So yeah, it's the fourth season. Yeah, the fourth season was out, and I don't know. I enjoyed Umbrella Academy, as you said. The first season was weirdly interesting because it's like not your usual superhero TV series. It's in its own place. The second season, also fine, cool, interesting. The third season, getting into that weird stuff, uh, like conspiracies and like too many of them. And the fourth season picks up from there, but tries to fast pace, like to the end of the whole series, something like that. It just felt like so. Spoilers again, if you don't want to listen to, just mute yourself. Not yourself. Mute the show. So the first season ended up with them ending up in a alternative timeline with no powers. And yeah, they restarted something. They thought they restarted the universe, blah, blah, blah. Then they don't have powers. They live their normal life. This thing with their normal life is introduced very briefly. And then they cheaply get their powers back for whatever reason. Like, oh, we found this bottle, and this bottle holds this liquid gold type thing. And then they just drink it and get the powers back. And they get, like, their powers are even better. But then the show does not expand on their new powers or better powers. Like, they don't really use them at all. Like, oh, we got our powers back, but who cares? The show is about something else now. What is going on here? And it's weird. It's weird. The finale is weird. You know, it's like they tried to explore new stuff, but didn't give it enough time. Like, oh, there's now alternative timelines. Okay, just explore that. You know, you have to expand it into 2 seasons at least if you do this new stuff. I don't know. It just felt rushed. It felt unsatisfying. I do not recommend season 4 at all.
Well, that sounds disappointing.
It's garbage. Yes, it is. It's total garbage.
Well,
though, I don't know.
That's okay. Not everything's going to be a success.
Yeah, some people might like it. Yeah, I do not. Anyway, let's get to the next topic, which is recent plays. And let's get to the more common website we use.
Yes.
Oh, Galileo Galilei. Galileo Galileo Galileo.
That's not one of my recent plays.
Yeah, something I want to play. Anyway, okay. Oh, Daniel said The Wire. I don't know The Wire.
I never watched The Wire. Everyone told me I should, and that's why I didn't.
I really want to watch One Piece, but there's not enough episodes. I'm out of episodes.
You got to build a runway.
Yeah, it's on hiatus or something like that. They didn't come out with a new episode this week or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, that sometimes happens.
Anyway, let's get to recent plays. So, Kyle, tell me.
All right. Well, I played a lot of things recently and at Gen Con and otherwise. But in keeping with today's theme of reprints, I'm going to talk about a game that is a reprint of another game, and that game is Harvest.
Oh.
So Harvest came out, I think the original came out a long time ago. I guess it looked like 2012.
2017.
Well.
Maybe.
Okay.
17.
Oh, well, not as long as I thought, but the original looked like that, and it was in a small box. And I liked it. I had a good time with it. I remembered. I went back and looked at it, and I remembered it fondly.
It was okay. Yeah.
Keymaster Games has come out with this beautiful new version. They've completely changed the artwork. It's no longer some vaguely fantasy world. It's a small town run by animals. And they have made the boards look very nice. They've updated the artwork. It's sort of these cute animals, nice wooden components. It's a very short, slight game. This is a small game in a big box now. But it is very fun. It's very enjoyable. It's the kind of thing you can get into, play, and be done with pretty quickly. It's the iconography is pretty good. The rules are pretty straightforward. What you're doing is some interesting turn order selection. That's kind of the game's hallmark. You have a numbered token, and then there's three tiles out there with different abilities. And so in number order, you'll select one and put yours out there, and then there's three more for the next person to choose from. And then you'll do your actions in that new turn order. Everyone's got a special ability. Everyone's got some bonus from that turn order. You'll get some money. And then ultimately, your goal is to clear the trees out of your field so that you have room to plant more crops. You can then water those crops. It's called tending them to cause them to grow. You will then eventually harvest them and get lots of points, and you'll do that again. There's not a whole lot more going on. There's not, a secret market where you can trade. I mean, there's a place where you can buy seeds, but there's not a secret market phase or a stock market or anything like that. It's just planting crops, planting them as efficiently as possible, and making your field such that it's able to handle lots of great things and get lots of points. It works well at all player counts. I guess I've not played it with 4, but I played it with 1, 2, and 3, and it's worked very well. It looks great. This is the basic edition you're seeing. There's also an upgraded one with the wooden pieces, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun to kind of mess around with this older game that was reprinted, and the reprint seems to have been done quite well.
Yeah, I barely remember the old version. It was from Team G. That was the time when we bought a lot. When I bought a lot of Team G games, I was impressed with Team G overly, but I was like, okay, let's then try all of their games. I didn't try all of them, but many of them. Harvest was one of them. And I think I got it in Essen, probably 2017, or Gen Con, or somewhere. Because I think in 2017 I was in Gen Con and in Essen both. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I see there's polyominoes and stuff. You need to
That's actually a
fit.
very small aspect of the game. It's that they do fit there, but there's really only 2 shapes.
Okay. I don't really like that. If it's all about the puzzle, I don't like that aspect. Maybe it's not that big of a deal that I will enjoy. I like the look. It's quirky in a sense. It's, I don't know. It's like if I would see this kind of a box cover, I would not really want to buy this game. It I don't know. It has this book art, old style type vibe on it.
It does.
I don't know.
It's a very idyllic look to it.
I don't like the font at all. But yeah.
Well, it's a fantastically fun-filled farming affair, and
Yeah, I like the animals. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's a reprint done well.
Okay. Yeah. Fine with me. All right. I do not have any recent plays. Busy times. Nobody wants to play with me. It's sad.
You can always play with yourself.
Oh, let's not talk about that. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I thought about that, but I went into the video game world. Just all in. I've been playing a lot of video game stuff because I discovered a new game. I'm not going to talk about the video games, but overly, I've been playing a lot.
Yeah.
And the games that have survival and building. So once you're in there, you build and build and build and gather and build. But it's not really recent plays, but I bought 2 games. I bought Destinies and Lands of Galzir. And so I'm waiting to play them. I'm probably gonna play something next week. I hope to try them out, and then I can talk about them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for
Daniel
recent plays.
says back to Harvest agrees. I definitely agree. It's not a puzzly game. It's more about He says resource management, and I would say action efficiency because those
I
are kind
remember
of what
that.
you're
Yeah.
doing. Yeah.
From the old, it was resource management. First of all, it was like the limited spaces for resources, all of that. That's
Hmm.
what I remember. Anyway, all right, let's get to the next topic, which is crowdfunding. Tell me, Kyle. Tell me more.
All right.
It's really bad week for those.
It's not the greatest. I actually don't have any active projects on Kickstarter, but on GameFound, there is a reprint coming, and the reprint is of Dungeon Twister.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll
see,
just say it
it's
right
right
away.
there.
I'll just say right away that I couldn't choose anything because nothing really calls to me. So I just chose Dungeon Twister for the theme of the topic of today's topic,
Hmm.
and just for the
Okay.
sake of choosing something. So we
Okay.
both chose that.
Have you played original Dungeon Twister?
I've not.
So just be aware, it has nothing to do with Twister, that game where you put your hands on the dots. Nothing to do with that. What this game is about is you have a team of heroes, believe it's 8, if I remember correctly, and you're going to you're going to start with 4, and the other 2 start in kind of secret places on the map, and you're going to use you've got I think 4 action cards which give you certain amounts of actions, and you're going to play them, and you're flipping over the tiles and moving around collecting resources, and by resources it's things like magic spell or rope or whatever, and your ultimate goal is to get a number of points, and the way you get points is either by killing opponents or by getting your guy across and let him escape on the other side of the board, so through your opponent's line. And the whole twister aspect comes because there's an action you can do on some of these tiles that's going to rotate them 90 degrees, and by doing that, that changes the maze, right? It makes different rooms align, and that's what you're doing. I remember liking it. I had the second edition, and then there was also some expansion. I had the second edition and then expansions from the first edition, which were somehow compatible. But it was kind of unfortunate because first edition were these little standees and second edition was minis. So they didn't really look all that great together. But it's a good game. It holds up. Well, I haven't played it for a while, but I'm assuming it still holds up well. I'd like to get it back to the table. I'm thinking of dusting my old copy off to see if I can get someone to play the old version with me. Excited to have it back. I think it'll be hopefully successful, and I think it'll be enjoyable. It does say 2 to 4 players. That's really a lie. It's a 2-player game.
It has an expansion game found exclusive. If you saw that, I was scrolling. If you buy a more expensive version, you can get 3 and 4 players in. But I
Yeah,
also heard it's designed for 2 players. So
it is. I assume that if you played 3 and 4, it's just going to be 2 teams of 2, which is just a 2-player game.
yeah, it's from Christopher Billinger, and I like his stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, I haven't tried all of them. He has this Rise or Fall thing that's not out yet that I want to try. Archipelago is his, Living Planet. And so there's another game that you might hear about later on that I wish would have been reprinted. Anyway, yeah,
Okay.
cool, fine. So
And
it's
then,
yours and mine, and we'll see about that. Maybe I'll try it one day when
yeah,
it comes out in 3 years.
yeah. Well,
It's
hopefully
by
not that long,
Ludically,
but
so it's
yeah,
by Ludically. It takes a long time.
it'll take a long time
Anyway,
anyway, so whatever. Daniel says the last game backed was Luthier, which I also did, and that one looks pretty good. And I was sold when I saw it at Gen Con. They had a dice tower that looked like a pipe organ, and it made noise when you dropped dice into it. It made like it hit musical notes. But
okay,
that one's already finished, so it's not on.
I
It's not
see.
live right now.
I see. Fine. Why not? Anyway, let's get to another topic, which is bye. Bye. Goodbye.
Okay.
So, Kyle, present me with
So,
3 games. I will choose.
I am going to present you with 3 games. The first of these games that deserves a reprint is an old classic from your favorite designer, Uwe Rosenberg. And that designer, or that game, is Ora et Labora. In this game, you're going to take the role of monks who are going to get up and work and pray. The game is the first appearance, as far as I know, by Uwe Rosenberg of this action selection wheel. And it's not, I don't know if it's action selection, it's more of a resource wheel. But you're playing cards and you're sort of using this wheel that's going to rotate and help resources grow in value. It's sort of your classic Uwe Rosenberg game. It was one that I believe came out in relatively short supply. It was hard to get a hold of back in the day. And you got monks, and who doesn't love a monk?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's option 1. Option 2 is a game I played with my father. This is an old game. It's called Stocks and Bonds.
Stocks and bonds.
Yep, I think the 1964 one. It should be a blue.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh.
This is a game.
Oh.
This is a game about stocks and bonds. And you're trying, of course, to make the most money. You are going to, there are cards that will be things like a bear market. Things will go up and down in value. And, stocks are more risky, but have a higher possibility of return, whereas bonds are more conservative and will allow you to sort of get more reliable investments, but they may be less spectacular. This is a game from the 1960s. It kind of looks like it, but, reprinted, it might look a little bit better.
Like Stockpile?
It's not very much like Stockpile. I don't think that Stockpile is the intro to this game that I would recommend. This is very much a stock game.
Okay.
And then the third game on our list is a game that's kind of between the two in time. I believe it might even have won the Spiel des Jahres back in the day. This game is called Adel Verpflichtet.
Sure. What's the English name?
What? ADEL. Second word is VER. There you go.
Hoity-toity.
It's a terrible name. In this game, what you're doing is you're playing cards secretly. Whether you're playing both the role of a detective and a thief, and you're going to decide whether you're going to do that. Are you going to play the thief in a round, or are you going to play the detective? Those actions are selected face down, and then and you're going to decide where you're going to go. There's a castle, there are other locations, and ultimately there's an auction house, and you're trying to either catch people when they're stealing, and then you get to take things from them and get bonuses that way, or go to the auction house when not everyone else does, so that you can get have a better pick of the cards. And what you're trying to do is assemble a set of artifacts that kind of all go together, and then go to the castle and display them. And then you're going to go up on this track, and you're trying to get to the end because that's where more points are to be had. So an early action selection game. I played it about, I guess, a year and a half ago when I was in Germany. It holds up pretty well.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
there you are.
Can I say goodbye to all 3?
Nope. One of them's coming back.
No. Look, I'm I'm not against stocks and bonds. I would like to try it if it's gonna be a totally redesigned reprint, make it more streamlined, maybe like something like Stockpile. Then I would say try to it.
Okay.
Now, the hoity-toity, or another weird name it has, something Adele, something with Adele.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jawohl. This one is not up my alley, so it's a total goodbye, and so it leaves Ora et Labora. Though I would like to say goodbye to Ora et Labora as well. From three evils, you need to, choose the less evilish.
They're all good games. I'm not putting garbage here.
I'm sure about that. But all of Ora et Labora, and you chose some, like, two of the games. It's hard to pronounce, hard to say. Ora et Labora. It's like the
Stocks and bonds is easy to say.
Stocks and bonds is easy, yeah. Ora et Labora is like an oral exercise or something like that.
Okay, I think it's just Latin.
Yeah, still. Anyway, yeah, the Uwersberg game is buy, stocks and bonds, try, and well, hoity-toity, goodbye.
All right, there you go.
Woo! Let's get
you picked the reprint theme. That let me go way back.
Too back. Way too back. Wait. Anyway, let's just get on with the show. Get to the topic of the day, which is top 5 games we wish were reprinted.
Got it.
I managed to do it here. Now,
so not novels.
Yes.
Okay.
Not novels. Maybe novelties. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so the topic is all about games that are out of print. We wish for them to be reprinted the same way they were, or with some revamps, redesigns, new look, whatever. It's just whatever, but they must be out of print. And I'm hoping all of my games are out of print because they must be. Otherwise, I mean, like, if you can still find a copy or two in one of the, I don't know, local shops in your town because they bought this copy 12 years ago and nobody's bought it, it's
still out of print.
It's still out of print. It's like it must be widely available in the shops, online. It must not be hard to find. If it's very hard to find, it's probably out of print. It's just few copies. eBay doesn't count because it's aftermarket.
Well, out of print just means the publisher isn't printing it anymore.
Yeah, and I like I don't want to say I hope, but I hope they are out of print. But I hope they will come back to print at the same time. Anyway, let's get to the number 5. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We still have Bye Try Goodbye. Now let's get to number 5.
Are we doing it again? Oh, okay.
No, we're fine. We're fine.
All right. My number 5 is a game that I have played. It's a game I think I still have. And it's a game I sometimes recommend to people because it's quirky and weird. But it actually is pretty good. And I would love to see it come back in print with a newer, nicer edition. And that game is called For the Crown. For the Crown is a weird... you can put the second edition. It's also out of print. It is a weird combination of deck building and chess. And it was made... It's a victory point game, so it was made with very low quality, with those kind of like cardboard that's like cut out, burned into wood. And it smells bad, and you get a little napkin to wipe the pieces off, to wipe the soot off. But what you're doing is you're playing chess. However, you're going to use you don't sort of start with a normal chess lineup. There's different pieces with different abilities, and you can use your cards and your actions to move the chess pieces around, but also to buy new cards to put into your deck in a deck building style, which you can then put out on the chessboard. So, if you want to have a whole bunch of queens, you can. If you want to have, my favorite was always, I think, the Crown Prince, and he became the king if the other king was killed, and so you'd have to sort of, do a double checkmate. There's, super
Mm-hmm.
knights that do different things, and so it was a bunch of different chess-like powers that were, weirder and wilder that you got through a deck building mechanism, and then you also had the ability to move around in chess movement. It was a weird combination. It's something that you don't think would work based on the description, but it really did. And I really enjoyed it, and I'd love to see it come back with nicer, quality cards, maybe better looking pieces, more special abilities, a way to organize things. Just some love from kind of a major publisher, because Victory Point was just a step above print and play. Um, so I'd love to see this come back with some proper love.
Okay. Yeah, I looks bad.
It
Maybe
does.
it's good. I've played chess before. Very much enjoyed chess in my childhood. But yeah, all right. My number 5 is a better looking game, a bigger game, a huge box with with a really bad rulebook. And it was a scenario based and tutorial based. It was attempted the tutorial. It's a game from I think 2010 or 2012, and I remember something like that in between that.
Is this Earth Reborn?
Earth Earth Reborn. Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Yeah,
It's a heavy game. You see the rank is 771. The game was appreciated.
it was a fun game.
Um it was a fun game. There's lots of things going on. It's a two-player game. Look, it costs a lot. It's a huge game, but it's only two players, and so you have like two factions. I don't remember exactly all the stuff. Lots of things going on. The line of sights wasn't as streamlined. It was okay.
There was a lot of weird line of sight and a lot of weird interruption, and the interruption was what made it very difficult to learn and teach.
Yes, yeah. Based on I think based on colors and stuff as well. Anyway, still, it had. I think the whole premise, the whole world, the theme itself was captivating. Huge box, all of those like dungeon like things and stuff, and it just if it comes back reprinted, streamlined, like deal it down a notch, like turn it down a notch. It's gonna be a better game. Rulebook and maybe new scenarios or something like that. Uh, it can still have tutorial, but a better one. Not like you're playing like this tutorial was like this time the first scenario you're playing a mission, but like you don't use half of the game, you know, and you just get used to stuff. It's okay, but I'm not having fun. I'm having half the game. I'm like, if it would have an app or something like that, or maybe a different type of tutorial, or maybe if you streamline it, it does not need a tutorial. You just make a better rulebook, cut, I don't know, at least 1/3 of the stuff from this one, make the line of sight easier. It will be a lot of fun. I just want it back. It was a cool premise.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was a good. I remember liking it, but I remember it was a tough one to get into.
Yeah. Tough one to get into and tough one to get on the tables. Like, oh, here we go again. I just came back to work from work. I'm gonna go to work by playing Earth Reborn in a sense.
Also, this game came in a huge coffin box, and the
Yes.
publishers and there was a tray in there that was supposed to fit everything, and the publisher said it was part of the game to figure out how everything fit.
I don't remember that.
and That was very frustrating for me.
Yeah, that one. Oh, this is
Anyway,
just something else. Somebody printed stuff. Anyway, yeah. That's my number 5.
there you go.
Earth Reborn. Let's get to number 4.
Let's go. All right. I think 3 of my games, at least, are going to be rather unexpected to you. Uh, this one I don't talk
Hoity
about a
toity.
lot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're games that have been out of print for a little while. This is a game, I actually, at Gen Con, I saw a game that reminded me of this called Adulthood. But when I looked at that one, it's very different. It's not the same at all. This is a game by mad scientist game designer Friedman Fries. And it is a game about how you grow up and spend your life. And the game is called Funny Friends.
Okay.
Funny Friends is a game that is, I mean, I've played the game by the rules, but most of this experience is just sort of enjoying how everything works together. You are collecting experiences. You're using your time as kind of an auction mechanism to get cards, and the cards will give you various experiences. You have an ultimate goal, which might be have a heart attack. And in order to have a heart attack, you need to get a certain level of being overweight. You need to focus on smoking and drinking, and you're going to be doing these various things that are going to help you to achieve that goal. The artwork on the game is phenomenally fun. It looks, I mean, it's very stylized and looks like it belongs only in this game, but there's just all these crazy cards with weird experiences that could happen. And if you look closely at any of the images, you'll see immediately what I mean. I think this game could do with a reprint. The rules themselves, the whole auctioning mechanism was a little clunky. There was a weird mechanism about having a phone token where you could call someone. You could like get something from another player that was weird. There was some definite weirdness to it. But the core game, if you threw some of those weird things out, was actually a lot of fun. And it was a raucous time, in addition to being a solid, there's a solid game here. I'd love to see this come back, but not change, well, maybe change some of the look. Some of it wouldn't be very PC these days. But generally, maybe we could cut out some of the pieces, but I would love to see it come back with a cleaner, more streamlined rule set so that you could focus on the experience and not necessarily have some weirdness about these time collections or, making sure you're only having intimate relations with the right person, which, was part of the game. I'd love to see this one come back.
Yeah, an opposite of Pursuit of Happiness, the Pursuit of Sadness. I don't know, Pursuit of Evil.
That's
Quirky.
not evil. It was just, ways your life could end up. You could also, need to join a cult or make a lot of money, or there's a lot of different goals you could have.
Oh, Trip to Amsterdam, Summer Softball,
And the trip to
Liposuction.
Amsterdam gets you some smoking. For the liposuction, you have to have, fat, and then as a result, you lose it. So you're, trying to use these experiences again to help you get to where your secret goal wants to be.
Well, I see. All right. My number 4 is from a publisher that does a more family-friendly approach to artwork, to to theme. This game, I feel, needs to be reprinted and remade, in a sense, redesigned, to lose that card selection of, ooh, I'm gonna play a really low card, or, I'm gonna get the highest one out there, or something like that. This all these secretive speculations that we try to do, but it's just a stupid rule. Shadows over Camelot
Ah,
is the one I'm talking about. Yeah, like, oh, well, I played the highest order. It's like, oh, that RPG, like
mm-hmm.
outplaying yourself. Anyway, but the game itself, it's a co-op game, and it's a co-op game with a bigger number of players that works. You can play with 5, works. You know, and there's not many of the games like many co-op games. I know there can be games that play up to 5, but many co-op games play perfectly with 4. Many are up to 4. One of the best games are like they're balanced around being like that. There being 4 heroes, and then you go on adventure and you fight the evil. It's like 4 is the perfect number. Here you can play more. The game itself is laying down those numbered cards. One of you is the trader, or I don't remember if a possible trader or you always have a trader. I think you always have it. I don't
I
remember.
believe you can play without it if you really want to and play it fully cooperative, but it was no fun.
Yeah. Anyway, but you can make this game fully cooperative and fun. That's the thing. Like redesign it, make it fun. Introduce the things from Dead of Winter with some goals that you have, your personal goals, but then without the trader, something like that, or maybe create a trader. So, I don't know. It's so many things going on. Or one versus many. You can make it into one versus many, and so on. So yeah, I enjoyed this game, and the theme is enjoyable. The Arthurian legend, and you went onto those different locations on the board, and you contributed your cards, and the trader might have lights here or there, might have not. There are some special cards. I remember there's like an expansion or something like that adds Merlin or something like
Yep.
wizard cards. I don't remember exactly. I think I don't know if I played with the expansion. Maybe I played only the base game. It just was so long time ago that I don't remember. Anyway, it just this whole adventure-esque feel that this game has is something that needs to be brought back. And it stays a wonder. And I'm sure if they would get back to it or sell it to somebody else, and then somebody else will make this game in a new shiny look, because the look is also dated in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
That would be perfect. Shadows or Camelot, my number 4.
All right. Let's go on.
Yeah, you have nothing to say.
Oh,
That's
well, I
fine.
mean, I can say I enjoyed Shadows of Camelot. It's the problem with it is that lots of the games I play are 2-player games, and that one requires you to have a bigger group, and even at 3, it's not great. I think it's one that really needs sort of the 4 or 5 players to be the best experience. I enjoyed. I still have mine. I would gladly play it if I had the kids from church coming over, for example. I think that would be one they'd get a kick out of.
Yeah, that's why I
I didn't.
emphasize that it's a rare case where there's a co-op that plays with a higher number of players, and it's still a
Yeah.
full-fledged co-op, not some kind of a quirky party game type thing.
Right. Right. I do wish. I mean, the only problem I had was that sort of the way that the sort of core mechanism of the game was just playing cards to get certain sets, and I wished that it was, that fighting the Picts and the Saxons was more fun to do, that
Yeah,
rather than just kind of, sets of numbers. But it worked back in the day, and it would still work well, especially if you hadn't played a lot of games like that.
yeah. It's just a creative theme. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I told you. Playing the numbers and that stupid rule about not telling about numbers. It's just
That was always silly, and nobody really ever followed that, I think. Um,
mm-mm.
but yeah, if you like Arthurian legends, though, you'll love the new soon to be released Tales of the Arthurian Knights, which is kind of a reprint of another game, but we'll see.
Yeah, not keen on that one. Anyway, let's get to number 3.
Okay. All right.
Just to before we get to that, you said the Tales of the Arthurian Legends is
Tales
Tales
of
of
the
the
Arthurian
Arabian
Knights.
Arthurian Knights. It's the Tales of the Arabian Knights.
It's
It's
a
a
it
reprint
is
of
it,
that, or like a
it builds upon that theme. It is a
Yeah,
redesign of that, I
which
would say.
why I'm not looking forward to that one is that because I might, it might be a possibility that I hate Tales of the Arabian Nights wholeheartedly.
Yep,
Anyway,
I understand. This one is a good. We can talk about it another time, but it's a very
ooh, games
well
we hate.
designed. Well, there you go. It's a well re-implemented theme by another designer. So
Yeah. All right.
anyway, my number three is not Tales of the Arabian Nights. It is a game that I've actually never played. It's a rare time that I put a game that I've never played on my list, and that's because I'd really like to play it. I found out about this game from the old Flip the Table podcast, which has been off the air for many years, but this was one of their favorites, and it just sounded like so much fun. And it's the kind of game where if I saw it being played, I would sit down and play it. It's a roll and move game, unfortunately, but that can obviously
Oh,
be spruced up somehow. The game is called the McDonald's game.
what?
And yes, the McDonald's game. And so,
Farm game?
nope, just the McDonald's game. Try an
There's no such.
apostrophe S. Oh, sorry. McDonald's is not with an MAC, it's MC,
Oh,
like the restaurant. That's the one.
okay.
So, now bear with me here. Uh, the way the game works is you're trying to get 25 points. And you're moving around and collecting these various menu items until
Mm-hmm.
somebody lands on a space that says, let's go to McDonald's. And then
Okay.
they're going to read an order off. And the order often has mistakes in it, like, I want, 3 Big Macs, two soft drinks. Actually, make that 4 Big Macs, an order of large fries, maybe a milkshake, and I would prefer actually instead of 2 coffee. So you're sort of changing, the person's reading their order and changing their mind, and everyone else is trying to get the order straight, and from the cards that they have, complete the order exactly, and then throw a marble into that McDonald's chute. And the first person to get their marble in gets the first crack at the order. And if you make the order
Okay.
exactly with no mistakes, then you get some points. And so that's kind of the core kind of piece of the game is this whole chaotic order phase where people are reading this weird order that's going to go back and correct itself, and everyone's trying to play the role of a McDonald's employee, scrambling to get the order right. And I just think that game sounds like it has a lot of potential. It would need some work, right? I mean, this doesn't look like it's particularly high quality, um, and the artwork kind of screams 1975, but but I think this one has some solid bones that if a company like Restoration Games were to pick it up, and I know it was recommended to them. I remember when when they just got started, they put out a what games do you want to see us do? And they got a whole bunch of people requesting the McDonald's game, and they were like, "What in the world is this?" But that was people who had listened to the Flip the Table podcast who were like, "This sounds amazing. We want it." And I really would love to see this one reprinted, and
Mm-hmm.
really given the love that it deserves. Um,
Yeah, Kyle,
I
just
remember
just just spill it out. You're just hungry. You're just hungry.
I'm not actually. It's still too early to eat,
Well, I
but
am. Yeah.
no, I actually think this game would be has the potential to be quite enjoyable.
Okay. Sure. I got nothing to say. Old MacDonald had a farm. Okay. Anyway, my number three is something of a real game. Okay. But my number three is a good game that I enjoyed in the past. It was, I think it was many years ago. It was is in my top 10 of all time, and I wish it would be reprinted. The company does not exist anymore, And I think this is the strongest one in that line. Though some people may argue that another one is, I would say the first one with the expansions, if it would be redesigned, make it more nowadays design, it would be a better game than the second one. Uh, the Manhattan Project.
Oh,
And the original Manhattan Project, not the Energy Empire, not Minutes to Midnight, whatever. Energy Empire is fine. It's a good game. I enjoyed it. But Manhattan Project, I feel, is a cooler game because I don't know, for some reason the way they went with Manhattan Project and Energy Empire, I didn't feel too satisfied with the engine. It was kind of a too scripted, too tight to in order to build the cool engine. Here you could go crazy and you could have really cool, awesome combos. I mean, actually, it's this is kind of a reprint. Oh, this is a weird reprint. I don't see. Okay, so this is the board. So
there you go.
no, it's also somebody printed stuff.
Mm.
Anyway,
That's been
as you can see, this is also printed. So people are doing print and play stuff. Anyways, something like that. Yeah, something like that. It's on game, it's out of print. So in this game, this is a worker placement game, and you have those people, and you have like scientists and engineers as well. The only difference is that some workers can go into certain spots. Thematically, kinda, but it's just, they don't have any special powers. And I would like to see when it's reprinted that like the usual workers and the scientists and the engineers are more of a different workers, But in one of the early games that had this kind of a multiple purpose workers in a sense, usually worker placement games, and it came around the same time that Lords of Waterdeep came out. It just put your person down, get the stuff. Here you need, for some places you need other workers, and as you can see, you need a combination of workers in order to build the atomic bombs, and that's how you basically get to the end of the game. That's how you win the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you are different nations, you have special abilities, and then it's basically a resource gathering worker placement. There's a common board, and I cannot find an okay picture here. Oh, maybe here. There's a common board here. You can play stuff and get stuff. Some are better than the others, and then you buy cards from here. The building cards, you put them on your own tableau, and you how you do that? You play one person to the main board, and then you can play as many workers on your own player board as you want. So you're also building up those worker spots, and that's where you go crazy. That's where like, ooh, I put the worker here to get that stuff. Now I use that stuff to put the worker here and get that stuff and that stuff. This kind of a chain reaction going on. That was a lot of fun. The airstrike was weird concept. Um, the expansion, I don't remember the expansion's name. It kind of repaired that thing, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a really cool game. It's something that's also very easy to get into. It's satisfying, as satisfying as Lords of Waterdeep. It's I think it's on the same level of complexity in a sense,
Sure.
almost.
Yeah.
So I would love it to be reprinted and just revamp and then just redo some stuff, especially the airstrike, and make
Yeah.
the workers more special, make it deluxe. Boom,
Yeah.
it will be sold.
So Daniel's saying in the comments that Grail Games might be reprinting both this and Energy Empire, with the new
Really?
artwork from War Machine, which I hope they don't, because I hated the artwork in War Machine. War Machine was a terrible game to begin with, but
War Machine?
if yeah, it was Manhattan Project War Machine. It was awful. You would hate it. Um,
Oh,
I know where you can get a free copy. Um, so it was this weird kind of stylized artwork. If you were to look it up, you'd know exactly what I mean. It looks sort of very, I don't know, propaganda poster esque. Um, it was Manhattan Project War Machine,
okay. Yeah, but
but I don't know. It might be coming back.
okay. Never heard about that. Oh, that kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw that one. I
propaganda
skipped that one.
poster.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw that one. Skipped that one. Yeah.
the
No.
game was not good. I like Manhattan Project. I like Energy
Oh.
Empire more, and I like Dwellings of Eldervale more. But it was a good, solid game.
Uh. Okay. So it keeps getting pushed back. Okay, for whatever reason. We so they are kind of planning it, but there's no exact
Yeah,
plan yet. Okay. Yeah, but I understand. Yeah, Daniel, I understand. People like Energy Empire more,
I do
but
too.
it Energy Empire never gave me the satisfaction that Manhattan Project did. I mean, like Energy Empire is a better game if you take the old Manhattan Project overall is a better game, but if they would make it a more nowadays design of Manhattan Project, the original one, I think
Hmm.
it could beat Energy Empire.
I could. We'll
I'm
see.
looking, yeah, towards that.
Just
Anyway,
hope it
let's.
doesn't get the artwork redesign.
Yeah. Oh, I enjoyed the artwork that it had originally. Those
Mhm.
meeples things, people.
They were cute.
Yep. Oh, I
All
cannot
right.
say meeple anymore.
Well, you can say
It's
it.
copyrighted.
Well, it's trademarked and only in
Oh, trademark.
Germany, and you're not selling something, so you can say
True. Anyway,
it.
okay. Let's get to number 2.
All right. My number two, I'm
Well,
gonna I'm gonna come back into the world of games that I do talk about sometimes. The first three on the list are ones that are less talked about. Um, but my number two is one of my favorite games of all time. It's consistently in my top 10. It's a game that really was formative for me. I talk about it frequently. I just really loved this game, and I would love to see it come back.
wait.
It has
Does it have glory in its name?
it does not.
Okay. Okay. I see.
It does, however, have chaos in its name, and that game is
Oh, yeah.
Chaos in the Old World. Um, I
Yeah.
would love to see it come back with more factions, more better looking pieces. The minis they don't hold up that well. Um, the card design was a little well, it was very functional. Um, the tracker piece for your magic or whatever it was called was it was just this little throwaway thing. I'd love to see this come back and have kind of a modern board game treatment to it with double the factions, lots more ways to win, lots more things to do. This was a great game where you would play as one of, a number of old Warhammer world gods who I knew nothing about, but didn't matter. You were trying to come out and conquer regions to get points. You were using this. It was implemented again in Blood Rage and then in Cthulhu Wars. This sort of concept of an action point tracker, and when you got to the end, you were done. You could do nothing else, even free things. And so, so you were trying to manage that and sort of make sure that you stayed in. And one way, there was one god that his whole thing was he didn't have anything powerful, but all his stuff was cheap. And so he could kind of wait that out and then have a bunch of free actions uninterrupted. There were, each god had their own dial, and you can kind of see them over in the corner of the board, where if they achieved a certain goal, they'd tick up the dial. And they were different lengths. So, there was an I win spot for each of the four, but one of them the chance of his doing that, the game would be over 3 times before he got to the end. Whereas, other ones, they didn't have very strong board presence, but their dial would tick up more quickly. And so you'd kind of focus on which way you wanted to plan your victory. It was just a really fun game that really introduced me to a lot of modern game concepts. And I think it could come back and have a nicer looking edition, nicer components, bigger, better, more stuff to do. I think this would really do well in a reprint.
Don't you think that because of the Blood Rage and many other games that Eric Lang made, he will not come back to redesign this one?
Well, I don't know, right? This is games we think deserve a reprint, not games
Yeah,
we
yeah,
think
yeah,
are
yeah.
coming back.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that this is probably the one that will never see the light again. It
Probably
seems so.
not, and I'm sure there's probably various issues with it. But I could see somebody like a Restoration Games taking this, working with someone like we're working with him to kind of refresh the rules and make it a little bit better. And I think that would be very successful. I mean, this was Eric Lang's kind of first big hit, so I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there might be some love there. I don't know what he's doing these days. Maybe working on the redesign of Chaos. Anyway,
Yeah,
this is a game that I really love, and I would love to see come back and be more available.
it's gonna probably be a Cthulhu theme because he's doing Cthulhu all
Well,
over the place.
there's Cthulhu Wars, which kind of you know uh, uh, shamelessly borrows from it from
Bad
this
game.
game's concepts. But this is different, right? I'm hoping not for Cthulhu Wars. I'm hoping for this one. I think this one would be good in its own kind of stay in the same world,
Yeah,
just develop a little bit more.
Cthulhu Wars can stay out of print. I'm fine with that.
Well, that's not what we're talking about. Um,
Yeah, true. All right, my number two is another game that I've been talking about many times. I'm still eager to see if this will be reprinted. There's a chance, a very slim chance, if somebody picks it up from a dead publisher, uh, out of print publisher, and with the expansion that was designed to some extent, but never saw the light. Kings of Air and Steam.
mhm.
Now, the World's Fair expansion, it has the entry. It failed the Kickstarter. I think the Team G failed
Yep.
to deliver a proper thing.
Well, the,
So
the the the
this,
Kickstarter didn't fund.
I mean, it didn't fund, but they not in a way that they didn't deliver on Kickstarter. They were bad at making campaigns. They were
Oh,
bad
I
at
see.
marketing. They didn't deliver in that sense.
I
Now,
see.
Kings of Air and Steam is a pick up and deliver game with the airships. You have rails as well. You can ship by rail, so like it's an aftership. But the main thing is your airships. You do upgrade them. They can hold more or they can go faster. It's a programming game where you program your airship in advance with like I think 4 cards, and then you turn them over, and then you fly and pick the stuff up. There's a little bit that stock market where, of course, the goods can become less expensive, more expensive, etc. You are getting the goods and trying to get them to the cities. Uh, there were special abilities that were not balanced, and so the two the World's Fair expansion, first of all, would have made the game of 2 players more tight, like special 2 player rules and all that. Then they would revamp all of the redesign the special powers and all that, and there were probably some more stuff. They could just take it, implement it into the base game, because it didn't seem like a big expansion, and then just release it with the expansion content, streamline some stuff, redesign, make it more balanced. I really enjoyed it. Uh, Paper money, maybe.
Not
I
the
mean,
greatest.
poker chips would be too expensive. Maybe something like Stockpile did, where the carton like paper, like carton like money, cardboard money, or something, or coins, whatever. I don't care. It's just something else. And yeah, that would be amazing. That would
It
be
would.
really amazing to get it back, because this is the game that would play with a lower player count quite fine, with a higher player count almost the same, and there's not much to the length because you are doing stuff simultaneously. So
Right.
you can play with 4 players, you can play with 7 players. It's gonna be almost the same amount of time,
Sure.
which is a huge deal.
Yep. This is one I would love to see come back. I've still got mine, but it would look great. The airships it was a weird kind of cheap feeling plastic as well. I wouldn't mind those being the softer type of a mold.
Yeah.
I
mean, like, it's okay.
A solid one. Well, but if it's coming back, I would want to see a few things improved. But it was good. This was good, and also the clouds on the board. I understand why they're there, but they do make it a little more difficult to see where things are.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a deluxe copy, like $100 deluxe copy, but with like the special edition of that, with the rules of the expansion as well. And there are several TMG games that have been picked up, so
Yep,
you can
that's
see
true.
the Harvest, for example, and Harvest was, I think, less popular than this one. So it seems like maybe one day we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, let's get to the final number 1.
Okay.
You're not gonna, like, you can try to guess, but you're not gonna guess what's my number 1.
Oh, I don't know, and I suspect you can't guess mine either.
We'll give hints to each other. Okay.
Okay.
Here you go. All right.
Am I supposed to give you hints?
Like, you can start talking and give me a hint, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So, this is a game. It was the third game from a particular publisher. It was never all that well received by the public, but people who were kind of in the know really liked it. It had a very dark look to it. It had a weird deck building mechanism that was kind of related to board presence. There was definitely moving around on a board. You were trying to build buildings that had special abilities and turn stuff into points.
Wow. What?
It was
Deck building.
It was about a city.
Mm-hmm.
A weird deck building mechanism. I'm not saying it was. I'm not saying it was a deck building game. It was a game with a weird deck building mechanism.
City of Iron?
No, not City of Iron, but very close. The first 2 words are correct. Instead of iron, it is remnants. City of Remnants.
I've not played that one. It has deck building?
Oh yeah, it's a weird deck building mechanism. It's one of the first games to have it that was not actually a deck building game. Because what you would do is you would have these. That's how you sort of got your forces. Is you'd take from these different factions and you'd shuffle them up, and eventually they would come out just like a deck building game. The look of the board is not great. It's very dark looking with very, with these neon lines. There was a reprint called
Neon Gods.
Neon Gods, but it didn't really build itself as a reprint. It was you could only tell that it was a reprint if you knew the game, and then that one also I don't think was very successful for them.
No, it's not.
That was back during sort of the interim period when they were part of Asmodee. So this is a really good game. It just really needs some some love in the visual design aspects. The special buildings were these tiles that went on the board, and it's great. But you really, the only way to tell what they did was by looking off to the side at a reference card that really just referenced them by shape. And that was, it was difficult, and it took a lot of space, and it was hard to see. The minis were these small little squishy things, but the game itself was a lot of fun. This is one of those games that I consistently return to because it was such a solid, well designed game that really worked with all of the different player counts. It was tense, it was tight. It was a little on the long side. You played until a certain amount of money, and oftentimes when I taught the game, I would just cut that in half because that would, because the game did feel a little long in the tooth toward the end. So I would often adjust that to sort of get us a shorter play, or just do a number. It really should be just a number of rounds, but it was a really fun game that really felt like nothing else other than Neon Gods, which Daniel says he likes, and that's great. I don't know that anyone else played it other than me and him, not even together. But I just think that wasn't very successful for them. I think if they brought it back as City of Remnants, but gave it a graphical overhaul, I
Yeah.
think it would really do well for them.
Yeah. Maybe then I would try. Because right now, this game looks
I
so
do
bad.
think this one is worth your time. This was a really good, solid game. It was the first game from Isaac Vega, who, went on to bigger and better things like Dead of Winter. Um, but this kind of brought him onto the scene as well.
Yeah. Okay. So, my number one is a game that has or had 2 expansions not that long ago, but it's by a big company, and it was for some reason dropped quite quickly. I don't know how many reprints they made before they dropped this, because nowadays it's impossible to get it. But why I started thinking about this game? First of all, I heard about it on a Secret Cabal podcast, where they talked about playing it with the expansion that adds a cooperative element. And also, I watched the TV show on Amazon that kind of the reignited the need for that theme and for that game. What do you think it is?
I have no idea.
A show on Amazon, a,
Invincible?
a
The Aspen
post-apocalyptic
Hotel?
show on Amazon.
Oh, I don't usually watch those. Um,
It has Nuka Cola.
okay, this is that Radland, not Radlands. That
I'll tell you,
Wastelandy game.
it's a
Yeah,
Fallout.
that's what it was. Some
Fallout,
Wastelandy game.
yeah, Fallout the board game. Now there's Fallout
Okay.
Shelter. Don't care about that. Fallout the board game was an interesting game. You went around the board. It has those elements from video game, and it was kind of adventure-esque, and it lacked some stuff. It kind of was. I don't want to say too streamlined, because Fantasy Flight Games doesn't make too streamlined games. It wasn't streamlined in a
No.
sense, but it was like something was cut from this to make it an epic experience. Because I played the video game, and and I enjoy it, and so I thought maybe this one. Then I bought it. I played it. It was fine. It was cool, but wasn't enough. I sold it, didn't think about that. Then the expansion came out, the first expansion. Then I heard about the second expansion that makes it a cooperative game. And I'm like, oh, now, now we're talking. Because I would definitely play it the cooperative. Definitely. because this is something I felt was like it was an adventure, but competitive play is like everybody goes into their corner, does something. We don't really like it's not enough interaction there. I think you could fight each other or something like that. But it's not like it's as with the Witcher old world. We are competing, but it's not really. You're all about the adventure, and I'm waiting for that expansion to come out to retell that as the cooperation there and Fallout as well. When I heard about it on Secret Cabal podcast recently, I was like, let's see if I can hunt it down. I cannot. I mean, maybe on aftermarket I could get it for a lot of money, and then I have to buy the base game somewhere else, then one of the expansions somewhere else for a lot of money, too much money, and then buy the second expansion somewhere else for too much money, plus too much shipping money. And it would be like, oh, I spent like 300 euros for that. It's not something I want to do. So I'm looking forward to this one being picked up by somebody else. Please, Fantasy Flight. Though there might be a license issue as well. I don't know how much the license costs with the series that came out. It's probably being popularized again, and so I'm not sure about that. Or maybe Fantasy Flight Games finally thinks about people and starts printing games, and not just being an evil corporation under Asmodee.
Well, I think these days all they do is print card games.
And Star Wars, yeah, they print Star Wars. That's it. That's all they do.
Star Wars card games. This is really what they're doing these days. They're doing that. They're doing some Arkham Horror, and they're doing the Marvel Champions, and that's about it.
Yeah, but anyway, this is something I really want to get back to. With the expansion, if I would get it right now, like if I could get it right now for a reasonable price with both of the expansions, I would get it right now in that edition, in that same edition that it has, at least something. But maybe somebody can reprint that with revised rules and etc. and implement the expansions. All right, and that's it. That's it. We're done. Daniel says Elysium. I forgot about that one. This is something I would say would have been maybe in my top 5. Yeah, but no, it would have been instead of the Earth Reborn. Definitely. I forgot about that one. That's a really cool game that I would like to be reprinted, and more factions, more card packs. Like make it like with the Imperium Legends, like a ton of them. You know. But here you can mix and match. That would be cool. I don't know what else. What was on your
Dungeon
mind?
Run 2.
Okay. There's not many games. It's like not many games come to my mind that I would love to reprint it, because there were games that, for example, weren't that good, but then they were reprinted and then they were much better. And I'm like, that's the thing. So we'll see. There might be games that were okay, and when they get reprinted at some point, there are several TMG games. I would still love to get. Okay, so Colosseum is getting back with a new artwork at some point. I would love to get. Yeah, I would love to get Homesteaders reprinted with a good artwork now. With really good artwork. Homesteaders, please. Because I don't think anybody holds the rights to Homesteaders. Automania I never played. Stockpile is kind of out of print as well. But I have it. I mean, like, for other people. And probably First Class could be reprinted as well.
Mm-hmm.
Revamped and reeditioned. So, yeah. Russian Railroads was the one I wanted, but then it got the Ultimate Railroads. So I have that one.
It's back, baby.
And Combo Fighter was the one I wanted to be reprinted, and it's back now under their own company. Cyclades is being reprinted. It's like things I wanted to be reprinted. Mice and Mystics is probably something that is out of print, and I would love to see a new edition.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't get it though, because reprints I often don't jump in on if I've already got the base game, unless there's something that's really new. If there were new story elements for Mice and Mystics, then sure.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
the total redesign. Though I think it's just too much work because I
Mhm.
think he puts out new games now. I mean, like the
Yeah, he's
what's the
working on the
latest one?
Wandering Galaxy stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
Wandering Galaxies, which I adore this series.
yeah, it's a
These
fun
series are
series.
amazing. I
Daniel
didn't
says
back. Uh,
Daniel says Carpe Diem. There's like 3 editions of that that came out one after the other, and they're all as ugly as sin. Uh,
yeah,
I love that game, but it is hideous. Um,
I heard about that one, and they changed the rules a bit, like one small rule and one small rule there, and so on.
well, the real
Yeah.
issue was that the two different types of tokens were green and a lighter shade of green, and you had to you had to sort them by that, and that was terrible. Um,
I also
anyway.
would love that there was a 10th anniversary of Abyss. I would have loved for it to be reprinted. Instead,
Mm,
they will come out with a pack of 10 new lords that will be a separate lord market kind of a thing. It will be like a new mechanism, small thing.
mm.
But I'm like, no, yes, but no. Like, give me a new big box edition of Abyss. This is something that needs to be. Though I couldn't put it on the list because I think it's still somewhat in print. Maybe I don't know. I
Mm.
don't know. It might not be in
I
print
think
anymore.
it probably is, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot that didn't make my final cut, but hey, you never know, right? There's a lot of good. The problem is I have a lot of the old games still, and so it's hard to get excited about a reprint if I've already got something.
Yeah, sometimes you just move on. With Fallout, I
Just
could
move
move on,
on.
and yeah, I mean, like for example, I have Deep Rock Galactic, which is a
Ooh.
really cool co-op game. Kind of a dungeon crawl. It maybe somewhat reminds me of Fallout game,
Oh.
so that could be something that is instead of that. So
Mm. Okay.
anyway,
Well, there we go.
thank you for watching. Thanks to Daniel,
Yep.
and
Sticking
we
with
see
us
you
this
another
whole
time.
time. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Bye bye.
Oh yeah, about the Nigra. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, Daniel. We must end this
I never played
show.
Porta Nigra. That's a Stefan Feld game, I believe. No, is or maybe it isn't. I can't
I don't know.
remember. Oh, now I have to check.
All right, we'll wait.
He says you're going to wait while I
He
look
says
up
bye.
whether it is. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. No, it's not. It's Kramer Kiesling. Okay. There we go. All right, we're saying goodbye for real. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.